Angelo Christian today with another great edition of Real Estate Insider. Today I have the lovely Katia Hadjiyska with Encourage Realty to visit with us today, talking about, she's one of our approved realtors in our network, and I think by customer vote, probably the number one closer. Our customers really love you a lot, and today we want to learn a little bit more about you because we refer a decent amount of business to you, and customers are always asking, well, who's Katia? Why should I work with her? What's her accolades? What's her skill set? And so we kind of wanted to put a name with a face.
Sure.
So when people are reaching out to us and we're pre-approving our customers, that they know who you are. And I would say that I think we worked together for about a year or so now, and with the team maybe a little longer than that. And one of the biggest things that that I see is that you take ownership, extreme ownership of the situation with your client. You take your client, with a lot of passion, and you really try to get them the best value, find them the best home, and really go out to protect them. And out of all the people that we've helped together, that's really apparent, and that you're sincere about it. And so I love the name of the company, Encourage Realty. One thing that I do want to let everyone know, she's actually the owner of the company, the broker. She's not just a realtor; she's actually the broker. So she is the boss. So that means a lot in this business. You're dealing with a broker directly, and not just a rookie realtor. So yeah, we want to know a little bit more about you, right? So if we could just kind of start off, if you kind of just tell us, who are you?
Okay, well, Angelo, thank you so much for having me, and I feel so flattered to sit here and listen to this. A bit uncomfortable to hear all of the good things that clients have said. And to me, that's the most important thing. And one thing, who am I? I'll tell you a little bit about myself. But what's really important to me is the buyer, and I take seriously each and every transaction, and I realize that a home purchase is one of the most important things that people look forward to in their lives. It's huge, and there is pressure and excitement, and there's just so much involved in something like that. So no, I'm not just a realtor who shows homes, and we're not on HGTV, and the process is much more complex. So I'm there as a professional to guide the client through nearly 200 steps of the transaction, and to help them understand a little bit. They don't have to know everything, but to be there to kind of overcome the next step and maybe the little next obstacle, to calm them down and just to move the process forward. And who I am, I'm a broker, like you already mentioned, here in the greater Houston area. That's the area that I service, and I used to be a former tennis player, so when I that's what brought me to the United States. I'm originally from Bulgaria, and I take my job as seriously as I did my previous profession, which was tennis. And I want to make people happy, and I also am fulfilled by doing things above and beyond what a typical person would do, which sometimes is a bit tiring when you're on my side physically. But I think that I love dedicating a month and a half or two, or however long, sometimes 6 months or a year or two with the client, and to really make them feel special, like I'm the only person there, that they can reach out to me. And I tell all of my clients, you can call me Monday through Sunday between 8 and 10 p.m. because it's just the nature of our industry. I do take breaks. I mean, I do sleep, but just in unconventional times. Our holidays are sometimes the busiest times. It's just always being there for the buyer.
No, I can say just by doing, helping a lot of, helping a lot of clients together, that it seems that you're always available. Whether it's Sunday,
it's crucial.
Nighttime, which is amazing.
We can lose a home within 30 minutes. There will be another offer.
I get so many people that call me that their realtors are MIA. They don't return calls after 5 o'clock. They don't work on the weekend. And that just doesn't work for the type of society that we're in right now. And so I think that's something that's very true. I just, the thing that also, I think that's also very important working with you. Like you said that, how did you, why or how did you arrive at, because a lot of people aren't like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just really focused on themselves
Mm-hmm.
or not trying to be, perform at a high apex level.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that about servicing your customer? What is it that, motivates you to do that?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and I think it's not as simple as just linking this to your profession. I think it's a personality trait. It's something that's embedded in you, and some people like to excel and do things well no matter what we undertake. So just like in tennis, just like in my career right now, just with any simple task that I would do throughout the day, you go a little bit above and beyond, and you dedicate a little bit of extra energy because I think it really makes a difference.
It does.
That extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% really makes a difference, and people can feel that.
Sure.
When you mentioned that authenticity and sincerity, I feel that. I mean, I'm not overly enthusiastic, and I'm a little bit more composed in the way that I carry myself. But innately, I have this strong desire to perform well. So when I perform well for somebody else, that reflects onto me. I feel great that somebody's happy. So we had a buyer close the other day who sent a long letter to the lender, including me. That made me so happy.
And he actually won the January. We do a giveaway every single month, and either a big screen TV or appliance package, and he actually won the giveaway for January. It was a great letter. I was amazed. He wrote a really long. He was impressed with you and Danny, and so
And one other thing that also drives me, it's not just managing a easy transaction, getting the closing, and helping the client. The process is full of little obstacles that we have to overcome. So you become the problem solver for the client. You're communicating between the lender and title and buyers and sellers and agents. So I feel like it's pivotal to keep the entire process together and moving along in a quick, efficient manner, and being creative and thinking outside the box to find solutions sometimes to financing issues that we've encountered. So we work together on that to negotiate. It's fulfilling on a psychological perspective as well, because you are negotiating and you're achieving. It's sometimes easier to ask something to benefit someone else than it is for yourself. So I feel gratification when I'm able to get something extra or a little bit more for the buyer.
Yeah. And you really do. Now, one thing that you mentioned that you service Houston, but not only do you do Houston, you also have a nationwide realty connection, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, so because we refer business out to you, and it could be in Florida,
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
We found a wonderful agent in Hawaii to help a family the other day who's going above and beyond. So yes, I think it's important to keep in touch with agents all over the country and brokers, and to establish good relationships, because you do get national business, and it's pivotal to connect the buyer to somebody who's competent and just as enthusiastic as if we were to handle them here.
Right.
And when I mentioned Houston, yes, Greater Houston, and our city is quite thick in density, so there are many families who are looking in the outskirts of Houston, and there's pockets and neighborhoods that are being developed, and there's so many builders because our economy is so good and stable in the city. I always say this, I'm so grateful that we don't have a beach and that we have a little bit of humidity, because it's what keeps our real estate prices low. But Houston is a phenomenal city to live in. And work in. We have a great economy. So, yes, we are working within the Houston limits, but also in the outskirts. Right. And it's very popular.
But you've even gone, to like Lake Jackson, right?
Correct. Correct. And I even remember working with one of the loan officers, and there was a couple that wanted a house with the horse stables, and we were able to provide that to them. So it was a fun experience as well, just outside of Houston.
Now let me ask you this. I mean, why? So I get this question. I mean, all the loan officers, we get this question a lot. Is why does somebody need a realtor? They think of how do justify their existence now with Zillow and Trulia and all this. I mean, so can you kind of talk on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Without boasting about why you should use a realtor, because I am a realtor, I'm a broker, I'm an agent, I'm a realtor. Just from a competency and ethics perspective, the positives and the values overweigh any considerations that buyers may have against using realtors. And what I mean by that is we are trained professionals.
Yeah.
We go through a lot of training on the technical side, which is contracts and even negotiation. There's some agents. I've done a lot of behavioral training, a lot of negotiation training. So starting from a big picture perspective, I explain the entire process to the client, because you get a buyer who has gotten pre-approved, which is fantastic, because this is the number one thing that buyers need to do to understand how much they qualify for. Now, that doesn't mean that this is what they have to purchase a house for, but we need this, because these days we cannot put an offer on a home without having that pre-approval letter.
Right.
But there's so much complexity in the entire process that is just good to have someone to explain it all. It will take 45 days for us to close. Inspection periods. We want to negotiate this. And I typically ask, and I know how much I can ask for you. So I will ask for almost anything and everything that we can, and then we'll negotiate through that. As far as the home search goes, even on that simple level, I like to help buyers to guide them to the correct sources. Because you mentioned Zillow and Trulia, and they're fantastic. They're very intuitive for buyers to use when they look for homes. But we as agents enter the information in other sources like the HAR, for example, and the affiliate applications pull that data, and sometimes it is not as accurate, or there's estimates that are 20 or 30% off the actual value.
Right.
So, I mean, when you ask me that question, my brain just wants to explode.
Yeah. Well, I know you're full of knowledge. I think that I almost see it like, you're almost like a coach or a mentor.
Yes,
right,
on the back end, we're service providers, and the client is the most important ones.
Yes.
And there's actually, I like to say, the ego is very low, because I think we're there, and I talk to the loan officers, we're there to help the buyer and to push this through. And yes, we do watch TV, and I always, again, mention this, that this is not HGTV. We won't get the keys handed to you right away once we negotiate the offer. It's pretty much nonstop for a good 45 days once we've even negotiated a deal. But why a buyer should use a realtor? Why would we use a tax accountant when we have a big business? Why would we hire an attorney? Why would we go to a qualified doctor? It's free. I mean, that's just as simple as that. On the buyer side, and just as a clarification, in Texas, generally, a listing agent will list the home. The seller will pay both the buyer and seller commission.
Right.
And the buyer does not pay anything.
Exactly.
Now, if a buyer, I'll give a couple of scenarios. If a buyer goes into a home that's already built, it's on the market, and they go directly to the listing agent, they may or may not get represented as well, because that listing agent is going to be taking care of the seller and the buyer. So how much can we really ask for? It's not to say that there aren't any ethical agents, but there's always that consideration to have. Also, even when you purchase a home with a builder, brand new home, why would I need an agent? I can walk into the office, and maybe I'll even get a lower price on my house than if I'm not bringing an agent, because the builder doesn't have to pay the agent a commission. However, every time one of my clients tells me, I'm going to buy a new home, I already have a set of 10 questions that I want to ask the builder. Is the title policy included? Are blinds and remotes? All of these things. And also, sometimes we're able to negotiate a lot of money off brand new builds. So pivotal from a technical perspective, it's not just peace of mind. It's from having somebody who's competent, who cares for you, and you would hope to find an agent who really does care, but also somebody who is available for questions, somebody who will clarify, somebody who will maybe find answers that they don't have for you at any point in time. there's so much, Angelo. There's so much.
No,
there's
I know. I wanted to shed some light on that because there is, you know, a lot of confusion from the customer side, consumer side about, you know, what does a realtor do? And I think a lot of people are very timid because they think they have to pay the realtor an upfront fee. I don't know if there's some website that says that or how they think this.
It's how it is in our area. It's what buyers believe, and we educate them through interviews like that and just general knowledge.
I can tell you, in my experience, I've been doing this for 13 years and helped thousands of people get into a home. And one of the things I've seen is if you're dealing with a millennial or a first-time buyer and they go under contract and they have no representation, a lot of times they haven't scoped out the house properly, and they buy a house that has foundation issues, or they lose their earnest money because they didn't figure out how to protect that, or they lose their option money when the house had issues, and so or things happen like that. And so so I think that working with somebody that's very passionate about their career and they're looking after like a fiduciary to the customer, to the client, it will help them to protect them in the event of. I remember one time when we were dealing with a builder and the customer refused to work with any of our realtors, and just sent us the contract, and his financing fell through, and the builder took his earnest money, $2,000, and he lost that money. And I said, hey, see, if you would have went with a realtor like I told you, and they would have protected you to make sure that if your financing didn't go through, you get your money back.
Absolutely.
You know, and so, you know, I just think that there's a lot of people out there. If you haven't bought a house before, or even I have bought several homes, I still use a realtor, and and especially somebody like her that actually cares. I see a lot of realtors that don't care, and I can personally attest that you know, you're probably one of the best, you know, realtors that we've ever worked with.
Thank you so
and
much,
so
Angelo.
so yeah, I mean, no, thank you, you know, and our customers love you, and so I do have one last question for you. I mean, so you know, we understand now why someone needs a realtor, but why you? You know, why would somebody want to go with you? Because, you know, I know that we're sitting here talking you up and things like that, but what's your expertise or your skill set? I mean, why should somebody go with you?
Again, just like the previous question that you asked me, there's so many different facets that I could touch on. One being a certain personality type that will protect your interest. Second being education. I have a background in finance and entrepreneurship, one of the best programs in the country at the Wolf Center here in University of Houston. I graduated with a 4.0, and I never mentioned that while working 4 jobs. So I think it's just a bit of a little extra that we have. I get trained in not just in real estate related trainings, but also Stanford and Harvard and business analytics and economics. So this is on the big picture personality level. And as far as real estate goes, I've done this for almost 10 years now. So just like in any business, and I really don't like when people say that. I've been in this industry for 10 years, but you could have sat at home and not done anything for 10 years, or you could have been out there and serviced 500 clients in a year. So I don't really judge people by the length that they've been in an industry, but rather by not even the volume that they've done, but also the level of with which that volume has been tended to. So I have very many satisfied clients, and it just feels so awkward saying this out loud, but it's the reality. I mean, I have reviews that people can read online, and I get a lot of referrals from clients that I've worked with. But this is the big picture of why me, and it's a bit unusual for me to sell myself, and I just had a couple of calls today with clients that are looking to list their homes or who want to work with me, and I just get so much business from grateful, well-serviced clients, from you, because we've established a wonderful relationship. We know how to move a transaction quickly and efficiently, which is crucial. I mean, something that I can move along with you won't be as easily handled if I'm working with somebody that I don't know. I mean, it's a team. Team effort.
No, I agree.
So
I agree.
That's why me.
No. I mean, I just, it's been really great to know you and work with you. I'm glad that you came into the studio today to meet with us. So how can, let's say that somebody, wants to reach out to you. Do you have a website? Do you have a phone number? How can people
Absolutely. My email is Katia, Katia, at encouragegroup.com. My number is 832-495-1092. You can call or message me or email me at any time. I am on the internet. If you look up my name, Katia Hadjiyska, it will be hard to spell, but just shoot me an email or give me a call, and I'd be glad to speak to you and answer any questions.
Is there a website?
Yes, encouragegroup.com.
Encouragegroup.com.
You can also find me on HAR under Katia Hadjiyska, where all the client reviews are. I have a LinkedIn account, so I'm easily available and reachable. I'll respond pretty quick, I promise.
Yeah, no, she does. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming out today. Very nice to see you again. Guys, this is another great edition of Real Estate Insider. We do 3 shows every single week. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media. We'll see y'all next week. Have a great weekend. Take care.